overstepped it already. And I think there's a real concern. You're seeing this in the polls. Even though people have some concerns about some of these issues, they want jobs. They want this economy focused on. One of the things that informs a lot of the way I look at issues is, my mother's white and my father's African American. And I think that I grew up with a perspective kind of looking at things from both sides. And both my parents grew up in the segregated South, and their backgrounds completely different. They actually met here in New York at Columbia in the 60s, which
that's
I like to
get your smarts.
Well, also that's where I like to tease them, because they were, going to change the world and all that. But absolutely, I mean, my grandfather, my mom's father, I've talked about this before. I wasn't allowed in his home until I was 16 because he was so ashamed to have a mixed-race granddaughter. And that experience, but, it taught me a lot about, I understand. I understood where he was coming. I didn't like it. I didn't agree with it. But I hope that it has given me, a broader perspective. And I also, that's part of the reason I always want to hear both sides, and I've always been somebody who asks, well, why? Why is it that way? When kids used to tease me and say, well, are you adopted? Because my mom, was white and had blonde hair and green eyes, I would say, why would you think that? She's my mom. Like, what, so I think that is one of the things it gave me, is this sort of, unending curiosity about, why things are the way they are, and trying to understand why people think and feel the way they do.
I read that you are the great niece of General Robert E. Lee.
Yes.
Your mom's side.
Yeah.
That's neat.
That's my mom's side of the family, and there's the Lee Society, and sort of a lot of interesting history there. And on my father's side of the family, we're descendant of slaves. I've actually figured out where the Finney family was, because Virginia kept such great records. There was actually a Captain Finney who served under Robert E. Lee's father in the Revolutionary War. We're all connected in ways we just never imagined.
And it probably makes you a more acute student of history. I mean, you could personalize studying Civil War history.
Sure.
And I have to tell you, I'm related to George Washington. He's my cousin.
Oh, cool.
And I love Revolutionary War history because of that reason. It's a great thing to pass on to your kids.
Yeah.
For me, it gets me to Mount Vernon free. Woohoo!
And I'm always, when we go to Arlington, I've always said to because the Lee Mansion is, sitting on the top, and I'm like,
perfect.
So do we get that back at some point, or is it?
right,
No.
That would be good. So what's with the football?
So this is so cool. So the military aides to the president, you will see them if you look. There's a guy, usually, or a woman in a uniform, carrying the suitcase, which is the codes, right?
Oh, wow.
The nuclear codes.
Woo.
And they call it the football. So when I was a scheduler for President Clinton, when you leave, the military aides give you a football to say thank you for your service. And so it's a Karen Finney White House scheduler. And then each of the gentlemen who were serving as military aides to the president at the time signed it from each of the branches of the military.
That's a great keepsake.
Yeah, of course, guys always come in and like throw it around. And I'm like, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it, it's my football.
Yeah. Do you love Cheerios? What's going on with Cheerios?
Cheerios is the official snack food of Disrupt.
Excellent.
There was
heart healthy.
Absolutely, and it happens to be heart healthy.
And we invite all of you to watch Disrupt with Karen Finney, with or without your Cheerios, today at 4 Eastern. A new federal report has come out on the nation's economic growth in 2012. It shows a 2.5% increase in real gross domestic product for the country. Of course, some regions fared better than others, as we see in today's number ones. The Southwest saw the strongest growth, with a GDP increase just over 1% there. The Far West ranked second, and the Plains third. North Dakota's GDP increase of almost 13.5% was far better than any other state, and that's thanks to its booming energy production industry. Texas came in second at almost 5%. Third-ranked Oregon gained about 4% in GDP. The Big Apple's big time for new business. A new study shows New York's the top city for the number of new high-tech startup companies. And if you left your heart in San Francisco, that might be a good thing. A travel website names the city by the bay the nation's most romantic city.
I really should have followed the GPS.
I'll just ask this guy.
Excuse me, sir. Do you know where
The Infiniti G Sedan, because luxury should inspire confidence.
It's not from around here.
No matter what road you take, visit the Infiniti Limited Engagement Spring Event to lease a G Sedan for only $299 a month. Infiniti, inspired performance.
Both Tylenol and Bayer Advanced Aspirin are proven to be effective pain relievers. Tylenol works by blocking pain signals to your brain. Bayer Advanced Aspirin blocks pain at the site. Try the power of Bayer Advanced Aspirin.
You work hard for your business. Your website should too. Choose your high-quality design with professionally written content and graphic elements created for your business. And make changes anytime. Upgrade your website and integrate useful apps. With search engine optimization tools, customers can find you everywhere. A website built by you. oneandone.com.
Because no two fathers are exactly alike, right now we're offering buy one, get one free on most everything in the store. So your dad will be the best dressed, no matter what his style. You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Citibank's app for iPad makes it easy for Anne to manage her finances when she's on the go, even when she's not going anywhere. Citi tablet apps, easier banking, standard at Citibank.
Xfinity On Demand presents.
Corpses do not think, they do not bleed. They are incapable of remorse.
Nice watch.
Say something human. Nailed it.
Dad, he saved my life. He's changing, and he's learning to be human again.
We're their food source. They are not becoming vegan.
Keep you safe.
Find it here with Xfinity On Demand.
Jay likes it when his mobile phone helps him deposit checks. Jay also likes it when Mother Nature helps him wash his car. Mother Nature's cool like that. Citibank Mobile Check Deposit. Easier banking. Standard at Citibank.
Life isn't fair, but you don't have to accept that it isn't fair and shrug your shoulders and just say that's the way it is. In fact, it should be fair. The most powerful idea in the universe, the basis of all progress, the engine of everything that's good that's come about in this country, from the revolution to the New Deal to the civil rights movement to the movement for marriage equality, is to look at the status quo, to look at unfairness and injustice and say it is not okay for it to be this way.
Jury selection starts tomorrow as the trial of George Zimmerman for second-degree murder gets underway. Attorneys on both sides will have to narrow down a pool of hundreds of potential jurors, just down to 6. Joining me now is Arise News legal contributor Seema Iyer and veteran prosecutor and deputy chief of staff at the San Francisco Mayor's Office, Paul Henderson. And before we get started, I want to let all of you know that George Zimmerman has sued NBC Universal, of course the parent company of this network, for defamation, but the company has strongly denied his allegations. But as we get to this, Seema, I'll start with you first. Cases are sometimes won or lost in the jury selection phase, if you think about it that way. So what is it that each side is going to be working for?
That's a great point. The defense is going to try to make sure that everybody on that jury has an opinion about Trayvon Martin, that everybody in that jury pool, rather, has heard about the text messages, has seen the photographs, and they are going to try to get people who have that skewed opinion, that perhaps believe in self-defense. That's what they want.
Okay, and then the prosecution, how many can they say, no, we disagree to this person that you want? How many times can they do that?
There's a certain amount of challenges that each side has, and it really depends on the Florida statute at this point, and I am not certain about that, but since it is second-degree murder, it's probably around 15 challenges each.
Okay.
Now, you can challenge someone, but you can't challenge someone because of their race or sexual orientation or gender.
But believing there's a prejudice, they can say we don't want that, or?
Well, prejudice is a different department altogether. So if you are prejudiced and if you say, I cannot be fair, you are automatically disqualified from sitting on any jury.
Okay. So, Paul, should Mark O'Mara, who, of course, is Zimmerman's attorney, be asking to change the venue of this trial? Is that the only way they can get a fair one?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I think this is a nationwide case that has caught nationwide attention. You know, it's just like we talked about earlier, both sides are going to be looking to really try and discover when they pull their panel what people know about this case and how they feel about this case before they're selected. The prosecution is, if I were handling this case, one of the things that I would really be looking for would be jurors that had some experience in dealing with stereotypes, because I think there's an undercurrent dealing with stereotypes that surrounds this case that I think is going to be really relevant as the evidence unfolds.
But you know what's interesting here, Paul? The court has denied a motion to sequester potential jurors during the selection phase. I mean, it hasn't decided yet if the jury of 6 eventually selected will be sequestered. So if they are, how would that impact the trial?
Well, if they are, it would impact the trial because they have to be kept away from all media analysis, right? And so we already know that this is a case of national attention, and so the court does not want, and apparently the advocates, some of the advocates, don't want jurors to be influenced in hearing what public sentiment is, what the experts are saying outside of the courtroom about the evidence that they're hearing, because everyone's going to be watching the hearing and watching the evidence as it comes in. They want the jurors to be able to evaluate it independently based on their own experiences in the courtroom and not have an influence from what they may read in the newspaper, in a magazine, see on television, or hear from their friends and family.
Yeah. You know, Seema, yesterday the hearing was all about whether or not to allow that 911 tape in as admissible for evidence. The judge did not reach a conclusion and has actually postponed that decision-making process. So, Seema, who does that benefit more? Which side?
I think at this point it benefits the defense because you're still left open with that self-defense issue, that if it was George Zimmerman screaming, then we have more to make a foundation for the self-defense charge, which is that Trayvon was the initial aggressor. Trayvon started the fight. So everything in this scenario benefits the defense.
Yeah. Paul, if the tape is ruled inadmissible and both sides are restricted from using these allegations from Zimmerman's past or pictures and texts allegedly from Martin's cell phone as evidence, how does this case go about being tried?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and when you're talking about the tape, I think there's a two-prong analysis. Because one, the court will determine whether or not the audio tape will be admitted independently. And I think that there's a high likelihood that the jurors will end up hearing that audio tape. The bigger fight is whether or not the experts will be used in regards to that tape. And again, there's two issues. One, whether or not their enhancements to the tape will be allowed to be played, and whether or not they use the standard procedure and scientific methods and what the audio tape has been. And then also whether or not they will give their own expert opinion as to what's on that tape.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think the real fight is going to be. But I think, you know, everyone can listen to the tape and hear what they hear.
Right.
And then the lawyers will argue. What the court is taking so long to flesh out is whether or not they're going to allow experts on both sides to come in and say, well, this is what I heard on the tape as an expert.
Yeah.
And so that's where the real fight is going to be. And that's what I think is taking so long to make a decision.
May I ask you very quickly, because we're out of time here,
Yeah.
would you put George Zimmerman on the stand? If you can give me just a yes, no. Paul, you?
Yeah, he's got to. He's got an affirmative defense with self-defense. He has to.
Okay,
Has
you're a
to.
yes.
That's not true, because all of the statements that he said thus far to police, to media, all of that has a foundation that lays for the self-defense charge. He doesn't need to testify, and he'd only ruin it if he does.
All right, well,
Done.
dissenting opinions, not surprisingly. Seema Iyer and Paul Henderson, thank you both so much. The glaciers of Alaska, why NASA is monitoring them so closely, and what do they have to do with Miami, Florida?
Closet space. Vaulted ceilings.
A place to hang out with my friends.
At RE/MAX, there are nearly 90,000 agents to find the perfect fit for all the things that move you.
What moves you?
My mother made the best toffee in the world. It's delicious. So now we've turned her toffee into a business. My goal was to take an idea and make it happen. I'm Janet Long, and I formed my toffee company through LegalZoom. I never really thought I would make money doing what I love.
We created Legal